Incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsy.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Different roads, same old spark. Talking track till the street lights spark. We're either sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves, Mac and DT cannon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters of books, we're geek to the core, laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys.
And that is correct. We are those sci-fi guys, and this is Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We're your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and from the looks of it, I'm going to make the NFL Hall of Fame before Bill Belichick will.
And I'm DT Cavman, and I cannot believe there was a great quote I read today how the NFL Hall of Fame somehow managed to make Bill Belichick the most sympathetic character in American sports right now. Oh my God, the NFL Hall of Fame and the voting committee has been taking it on the chin for 24 straight hours. Even people who admitted they hate Bill Belichick have been calling him out left and right. ESPN roasted, and they pulled the rug out on old Bill Polian, who's now he's flip-flopped so many times. He's well done on both sides. It's like, oh, I never said it. I voted for Bill. Oh, I can't quite remember. Now it's like 90% sure I voted for Bill. I can't really remember. That fucking senile old prick. God damn, I hate that guy. You know, and
other than that, you have no thoughts.
I never liked him. This is a guy who routinely would go to the NFL competition committee to underscore anything that would get Peyton Manning and the Colts another advantage, and they still only won fucking Super Bowl. Only won one Super Bowl with all of that talent.
Yeah.
And they almost lost to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game and had to have a couple of footballs bounce the right way to go to the Super Bowl.
That's also true.
I mean, for the love of God. Yeah, I have no love lost for as shady an organization as the fucking Colts are. Remember, funny. This is a team that literally snuck out of Baltimore back in the early 80s. They moved the team and didn't tell anyone.
Oh, I got you. No, I got it. I mean, it's just funny because you'll say how shady the Colts are as a Pats fan. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say hypocrisy.
Here's the thing. The Pats got busted and they've already had their punishment. The Colts were accused of pumping sound through the fucking speakers.
Oh yeah,
during games and whatnot.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They never got whacked for that.
Some baseball teams were caught for that too, weren't they?
Yes, right. Almost ESPN and the NFL will do anything to protect the Manning name. Just know that, okay?
Yeah.
So
well,
but the
Mannings
Pats
cumulatively have 3 Super Bowls, and we know who has more than double that.
Yeah. So just remember, the Pats lost multiple draft picks for Spygate and for Deflategate. They were fined for both of those. Bill was personally fined for Spygate. Tom was suspended not for Deflategate, technically, but for refusing to cooperate and hand over his cell phone.
Which he never should have had to hand his cell phone over. That's private property.
Well, yeah. Plus, they're not the law.
Exactly. There was no jurisdiction.
That being said, your employer can suspend you, but it was the stupidest thing in the world. And so many people have debunked Deflategate that it's not even funny. All right. But if
they were debunking it from the day one, but yes. Sorry.
If somebody is saying that, Bill should be penalized a year before he goes into the Hall of Fame. It's first off, it's double jeopardy. He's literally already received punishment for the crime. Right?
Right. Private employer though, so I mean,
I know, again. But all it does is make the NFL and the Hall of Fame look bad. Like, people are shitting on Canton, which is literally was like the shining beacon of football. And now it has lost so much credibility.
Right.
Like, there was a voter who is like clearly a Kansas City dude who writes for a Kansas City newspaper and like wrote an article as to he did not vote. He didn't vote for Bill Belichick, but it's not because he was voting against him. He voted for the 3 other old dudes on the senior committee because he felt that they've waited too long. He literally wrote an entire article about that. It still smacks of,
I understand.
I'm covering my ass.
Of course
is
it
what
does.
it is. Because I think he's pretty sure that the names are going to get out. Because first off,
they absolutely are.
Not getting into the Hall of Fame this week that's a big leak. You don't usually find out that stuff until next week when they announce it.
Right.
It's a huge leak. Somebody definitely wanted this to get out, either or whatever. But like the NFL, the Hall of Fame and the NFL basically had to come out today and say, yeah, we're going to review everything. And if somebody, if people voted, not based on the criteria of whatnot, that's football, like it has to be football related. Like him being a dick to sports writers is not football related. Spygate, whatever, they can all loop it into the integrity of the game. But him not kissing the ass of the reporters, which is another reason why they think that these guys are getting, Bill's getting the old heave-ho. That, and there's also a couple of dudes on the vote who vote, like Bill Polian and Tony Dungy, who have an axe to grind with Bill. Like, my feed has been filled from not only NFL, other ESPN sports networks. Everybody is shitting on the Hall of Fame. What should be
it should be sacred. It should be a place of not worship, because that sounds blasphemous, but a place of
respect.
Respect. Thank you. I was going to say idolatry, but I stopped at that one too.
I've been to Canton twice. When we lived in Ohio, first Mrs. Kaufman and I, when our kid came out to visit my parents one summer, and Mrs. Kaufman and I took a trip out to Canton because we always wanted to go. It was on the bucket list. Canton, Ohio is, and I'm not crapping on the town. There's just not much else there other than the Hall of Fame, right? Yeah. I think there might be a Corvette museum or something, but it's not like a major, huge metropolitan area. It's an old, industry town, which is where the game of football built around in the Midwest. A lot of these old factory towns, mill towns, stuff like that. But Canton, the birthplace of football, it's not as picturesque as Cooperstown, New York, the town itself. That being said, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is phenomenal. Loved it. It was so awesome. Then you're walking into the hall of busts of heads, and you're watching packs like, Joe Namath and Jerry Rice and, Joe Montana and like these legends of the game, right? All the way back to the very early, like Slinging Sammy Baugh, one of the first quarterbacks to like actually throw the football.
Yeah.
Right? From the 30s and shit. All the way up to the current class at the time when we went was the election of former New England Patriot Ty Law was amongst the inductees that year. So a lot of stuff, right? It was fascinating and cool to walk through. And they're just getting the ever-living dog shit kicked out of them right now.
And rightfully so, funny. By the way. it's just fun to see.
It's an embarrassment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually hurting the image of the Hall of Fame. Like, people are just running him down. J.J. Watt, was widely considered to be like one of the nicest guys in the NFL, has drugged them so hard. He basically roasted them last night hard on Twitter, and then he went on the McAfee show today and continued and just went on a tirade. He's like, this is embarrassing, and everybody's like, then the Hall of Fame is nothing.
It's the biggest no-brainer, and they refused to do it. Like, that was a choice. It was the biggest no-brainer. He wasn't the winningest coach, but he was almost the winningest coach. But he had like the
second
winningest streak, right?
Okay. Nobody has more Super Bowls. He has 6 as a head coach, 2 as an assistant. So he's got 8 Super Bowl rings. So he has more rings than Brady. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
he's got
far,
the second most total wins. Right. He's got the second most total wins. Okay. He's the winningest coach in playoffs. Got the most playoff victories. Okay. Granted, only one of them was without Tom Brady, and it was when he was with the Browns when he beat the Patriots under Bill Parcells in the 90s, but he still went to the playoffs, right? And yes, people are going to, a lot of people are like, well, he only had Tom Brady, and look at his record without Brady. Look at any of these great coaches without their superstars.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you looked at Joe Walsh's number without Joe Montana or any of these dudes, you're going to see a drop off. Okay. Let's not get it twisted. Okay.
No, certainly.
Belichick probably wouldn't have all those rings without Brady. Brady probably wouldn't have had as many. They might each have had multiple rings, but not as many as they did together.
Exactly.
So the fact, and now people are going, well, if you're going to shit on Bill for all of this, does that mean Kraft isn't getting in? Does that mean Brady's not going to get in his first year? And
right.
And people went with the follow on. If Bill doesn't get in his first year, then are you going to hold it against Tom? And then if Tom doesn't get in his first year, then this is fucking done. Burn the Hall of Fame down. It's absolutely, literally, people are saying like if that affects Tom getting in as not getting in as the first pick in his first year, then the NFL Hall of the Pro Football Hall of Fame should cease to exist. Right? They're calling for people to come out. It's ridiculous. I didn't even mean to get into this. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I didn't mean to trigger you either. I thought you'd have a good laugh at my one-liner. Maybe we'd talk about it for a couple of minutes. And then we're 15 minutes in.
We're not, but it's okay.
Well, yeah. 10 minutes in.
The fact of the matter is, folks, I hate obvious petty bullshit. Okay. Somebody being a little petty, a little snarky sometimes, I can deal with that,
I wish you weren't a liar.
Hey, look, I can appreciate some if it's well done, but this is it just looks bad.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing. And like if Polian really did like tell everybody to stop doing it, then his credibility should be gone. And he should not only not be able to be voting for the Hall of Fame, but you really should question whether or not he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame himself. Because it seems to fly against the integrity, right, that they want to talk about. So,
yeah, that's it. It's the integrity.
Be a douche at your own risk, folks. This is the 21st century. People put this shit out there.
There is nothing anonymous anymore in this day and age. Like, just operate as if you have a paper trail and understand that literally the karmic hammer of justice will swing back your way.
I know. I saw it on A Night of the Seven Kingdoms second episode.
Oh my God. I haven't even watched it because I don't want to deal with it.
Okay. Just so you know, the second episode is fantastic, but the opening will surprise you.
I just, we need ratings. I talked about man ass. We need ratings to warn us about that stuff. And they just say
it does. Nudity. It just says nudity at the top.
It does, but it doesn't specify what. And that's a problem. That's
it shouldn't be a problem. It's
a problem.
Be aware. By the way, man, so so we can start transitioning into new stuff, right? Okay.
Yes.
So there is actually, and before we jump into our topic for tonight, there is new stuff coming out, right? Which is it's good because we kind of had a little bit of a lull of things, right? So we've got, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new Game of Thrones prequel, which is going through the roof right now. We already reviewed the first episode. We'll do a wrap up at the end of the 6 weeks. It's been very entertaining for me. I very much enjoy it. And today, Marvel on Disney just dropped the limited miniseries Wonder Man, which I didn't really have much else, to do. I put my feet up in front of the fireplace, and they're 30-minute episodes, so I cracked on to, and so far interesting. They got Ben Kingsley back as Trevor Slattery, and I'll tell you,
trying to figure out how they did that. Like,
he's enjoyable. It's so far it's interesting.
Ben Kingsley, he's gonna be enjoyable.
Yeah,
I'm just,
he's fantastic.
As
this character is like just kind of like out there for some of the roles he's played. Like the man won an Oscar for Gandhi, right? So,
well, that's what I'm thinking. Like as a man of his caliber, we talk about legitimacy. I mean, the Oscars have lost all legitimacy at least a decade ago. But
because like none of the I haven't even heard of most of the movies.
No, it's completely.
They've gone so far away from any like it
was literally 2003 Lord of the Rings, when Lord of the Rings the Return of the King won. That was the last mainstream movie that won. Everything else has just been art flop to try to say something for, they're all just clapping for themselves at that point. What was I going to say? Oh, Sir Ben Kingsley. I'm trying to figure out how he them in for this show, because this show came out of nowhere. I didn't see anything for it. I heard inklings here and there, and I'm like, oh, that's funny because they're doing they're probably doing some kind of Luke Cage thing or something, because Luke Cage was
Daredevil is coming. They just put a trailer out for Daredevil Born Again season 2.
Oh, and Luke Cage is coming back?
He's not, but Jessica Jones is. At least we don't know yet. So they're really starting to bring some of the Defenders back in it. I hope at some point Luke Cage comes back because I actually enjoyed him.
Michael Coltrane, right? Michael Coulter. I really like Michael Coulter. He was really good.
He was
as Luke Cage,
especially in that role.
I mean, the first half of the first, I didn't watch the second season because the second half of the first season just spun out of.
Well, when you lost Mahershala Ali halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, it's like halfway through that season, they're like, we're going to get a whole bunch of new writers. We're going to get a new showrunner, but we don't have enough time to fix the first half. So we're just going to run with that. And then we'll do this here later. Or everyone just quit halfway through before finishing writing the season or something.
It's almost like it's like they were filming one season and forgot it was supposed to be. It was like, oh, this is going to be a great season 2. No, this is still season 1. Oh, shit.
Yeah, it really was. Like, it was the darndest thing. Like, I don't know.
It was so disappointing because Cottonmouth was so good comparatively, and Diamondback sucked ass. He was the worst.
Really did.
It was the worst.
It
was just such a vast drop off. If you had like 6 months between beginning and end of a season, you might have been able to roll with it. All right, well,
yeah,
villain, but
yeah, the flavor of the seasons wouldn't have been as jarring. The change,
yeah, exactly.
All right, well,
so Daredevil that's coming out again soon. I don't remember when exactly.
I need to actually
just dropped a trailer today. It was good.
I gotta watch that, and then but Wonder Man, it came out of nowhere. I don't know anything about it. I've heard good things, but if I hear good things from the Access Media, that means nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing. So I need to hear things from other people before I invest, because my time is super tight right now.
Well, I get you. I didn't turn it off. I rolled. Actually, I started episode 3.
Oh, good. Okay. I mean, well, let me know. We'll see. We'll see if we want to talk
It's
about it.
interesting. So, and we can talk. We can discuss it another time. It's just kind of nice to have options.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, there's stuff coming out. Like Marvel, you can tell is starting to dip their toes into it to try to. I think they're going to try to whet our appetite for Doomsday, get us savoring. And already I'm finding A Night of the Seven Kingdoms more enjoyable than House of the Dragon. Not that I hate House of the Dragon. It's good. And I read that book too. This is just more fun.
Yeah, well, that was what our takeaway was, right? Yeah.
You get more great you get another great appearance from Lionel Baratheon. So it's good.
Okay. Noted. So
all right. Well, anyway, so there we are, a little refresher on the sci-fi fantasy stuff, folks.
So we're going back to sci-fi now.
Right. And we're really going back.
Yeah, we're really going back. So I brought this up to you. I was inspired by this because Red Letter Media, I've brought them up before. I don't think I've seen you.
Yes, you have a big man crush on them.
I'm not the only one. They actually have
I'm not
very good
hating on
insight.
them. I'm not hating on
good
them.
Analyses.
They're somebody you reference pretty regularly.
Please. I reference them maybe 3 times a year. Maybe. That's not often.
For you.
Oh, please. So anyway, they just released a couple videos of them reviewing some of the top, basically season 1 of Deep Space Nine. And they talked a little bit about Duet. Huh?
I said, sure, go on.
And they talked about most of the big episodes and stuff. And then they brought up an episode that I almost forgot about. And I'm like, I've only seen this episode once in my entire life, but I do remember it. And it was the penultimate episode of season 1 of Deep Space Nine, titled Duet. And I don't have a dramatic share right now. I'm working on that right now. So here we go. So, and I have to remove this. Thank you. Let's try this again. Oh my God. Add to stage. There we are. So, there's no real title card or anything for this episode. It's a TV show from 30 years ago. So, long and short of it, DS9, I don't know if you remember how it was. DT, are you there? Or did I lose you? Yeah, I think I lost you. I'm going to remove you, DT. And then just come on. You there? I'm going to just jump out. I'm going to bring him back in a second. So, but unfortunately, the thing is that I need his back and forth to be able to discuss this, because I would like his insight on my thoughts on this. So hopefully he'll be able to get his internet running. Yeah, so we'll see here. Okay. And DT's back. So, let me know if you're going to have some more problems. Obviously, you won't know until it's actually happening, just like I won't know. So that was a completely useless statement. So DT, I wanted to get your opinion on things, because this was...
Sure.
So Deep Space Nine was an interesting duck, because it was the second spinoff of Star Trek. It was the first spinoff of TNG. They definitely went in a very different direction by going on a space station, having it be frontier medicine, all this stuff we've talked about before. And this was during a time when it said Star Trek on it, so I'm going to watch it, right?
Sure.
But I remember I didn't look forward to watching Deep Space Nine in its first run, its first season. It just felt like an obligation to. No, but there were things I liked about Deep Space Nine. Don't get me wrong, but
sure,
I didn't find it as fun of a watch as I found TNG. And this is when I was
Sure.
12.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I get it. You see,
So
you got to remember, man, at the time, I hadn't yet dove fully into watching Trek regularly. And I
yeah,
would catch
that's what I was
episodes
wondering.
of I would catch episodes of TNG or um, you know, the original series or something periodically, maybe watch it, but I didn't watch regularly for a while. I didn't get
It
fully
wasn't
into
until
watching.
94 when we
Right.
started
So
talking about the
TNG,
shadows and stuff with B5,
yeah.
BS5.
First, you got me into B5. You're like, oh, you might actually like this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I got into that. I got into season 2 of B5 and started digging into that. And then it was season 3 of Deep Space Nine where I really started sitting and watching regularly.
And that was when D Space Nine really started to cook with
Yeah, it took off more in
a
season
greater
3
narrative.
and really kicked off in season 4. There was like a soft reboot in season 3 and yet another soft reboot in season 4,
Yes.
which worked actually. You know, and if you notice, TNG got a soft reboot in season 3 and Voyager kind of got a soft reboot more in season 4.
When 7 of 9 got introduced. Yes.
Yeah. Now, granted, anytime you add another major character, it can sometimes adjust the dynamic to a degree, but like Deep Space Nine did it twice.
Yeah, they did.
And each time it got better, right? So, you know, I had heard, you know, years and reading stuff and listening to people like, yeah, Deep Space Nine season 1 and 2, they're not that great. And there's some stuff that isn't, particularly season 1. I think season 2 is far superior to season 1. I mean, they started off with a 3-part beginning to season 2, which was actually quite good. You know, I think they had some
Yes.
very solid, and then they had the Maquis double episode. You had, you know, it ending with a bang with the, you know, the Jem'Hadar and everything. Some good episodes in really good episodes in season 2.
Right.
But season 1, like many sci-fi shows, there's some clunkers. You know, you're establishing things. There are some good episodes. This one was a truly great episode. This is the best episode of the first 2 seasons, bar none.
So, okay, so here's the thing. I would say that there's a couple clunkers here and there, right? But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, as a 12-year-old, I didn't understand because it delved more into intrigue and political nuance. And, you know, I did a recent rewatch a couple of years ago of the first season, and there were a couple episodes like where they needed to put some land reclamators around, but they had to pull it away because of Vedic Win, and
that was a season 3 episode. That was
it a
Shakar.
season 3? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, something like that. But, you know, then they had to make this Sophie's choice of like, do I do this for the good of the government or do this for the good of the population that needs this reclamator? And you know, it's an intriguing story of no one's going to be happy and satisfied because there is no right answer here. The season finale talked about the schism between the Federation and the Bajoran religious sect, where Keiko O'Brien was teaching. Did I say season 1 or season 2?
No, that's where we are now, season 1.
Right.
So it's actually the episode after this one.
Exactly. So I'm emphasizing my point here, where they talk about how, you know, Keiko O'Brien was teaching, you know, non-Bajorans and Bajoran children about the wormhole aliens and the wormhole, and Vedic Win is there, and the best bad guy ever introduced, possibly, who could say "bless you, my child," but you're not hearing "bless you" in your head. That's for sure.
You're hearing you, but you're not hearing bless.
You're not hearing bless. But she's there and she's smile on her face saying, you're absolutely wrong with everything you're saying. And then that makes Keiko uncomfortable because she's like, oh, right, but I just have to teach the facts. And she's like, but the facts are that these are the prophets. And again, two different viewpoints, not necessarily wrong, because these wormhole aliens did name Cisco the emissary, right? They were for Bajor. You know, Cisco was of Bajor. Like, so, you know,
The Cisco.
The Cisco is of Bajor. So, but that created a whole controversy. There was the school got bombed out because of religious fanaticism in response to them feeling threatened after being under occupation from the Cardassians and fighting for their lives for the last 75 years. I mean, it was a wrong thing to do, but you can see why they felt threatened by it. You know, this cultural erasure, if you will.
Before we jump into that, you want to hear something interesting that I read while reading a biography of an Irish Civil War general, Union general.
Who is Irish. Okay, yeah.
Yes. It's called The Immortal Irishman. It's about Thomas Marr, the commander of the famed Irish Brigade. But while it's a great biography, there's a lot of history. They teach you a lot of history of why, basically how the Irish diaspora to the rest of the world and a lot of the United States happened, and all the shit that they had to put up with when the British showed up. And the Irish became super Catholic basically because the English said they couldn't be Catholic anymore. So they like hung on to their religion.
That's such human nature right there.
Right. But they banned all sorts of, you know, the harp and the color green and all of these things. You know, they were trying to get rid of Catholicism, everything. You know, the British were very terrible to the Irish. Okay. So that's well known in history. Okay. But the Irish, when they became Catholic, they were Christian, Catholic, whatever, right, at the time. And then the schisms happened. And then, like, when the English showed up and started conquering Ireland, they're like, yeah, you stop with the Pope and stuff. And the Irish are like, I'm going to be more Catholic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go to church like every day. Like, that's basically what happened. And that's why
that's synonymous with the Bajorans and
exactly. You
their
can
worship
see that,
of the
like,
prophets under the Cardassians.
Right. So, like, the Cardassians stole all the orbs, right? The British knocked down monasteries or occupied them and turned them into country estates and shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Bajorans and the Irish was like, you're going to tell me I can't do my religion? Fuck you. I'm going to be even more religious. And and I'm not saying that was, you know, again, we don't have a whole lot of firsthand knowledge of what Bajor is like before the Cardassians.
No.
But it seems to me that they lean, you know, and maybe the Cardassians leaving, they also saw as a sign from the prophets. They, you know, they very much hold that the religion, you cannot separate Bajoran religion from its culture, right?
Right.
It just that's just how it is. And for a show that's supposed to be pretty secular, at some points they actually do treat the Bajoran religion with respect. Other times, like when you have Vedic Burial, who was a man of peace, but he was also, you know, a good shepherd. Then you have Wynn, who's power hungry.
Right. Both part of the same order.
Exactly.
But very different applicants of the religion.
Exactly. And, you know, it's an interesting piece, right? So and you're right, early in the first 2 to 3 seasons, you see a lot more of that. Once the Dominion becomes a full bad guy and the Klingons and everything, it's a little less.
Right.
Bajor is also a lot more stable by that point too. So,
but as a middle-aged
It's not about to turn into a civil war every 5 minutes like it was in the first 2 seasons.
And it was very tenuous for those first 2 seasons for Bajor. I mean,
actually,
for some reason,
when you think about it, because Shakar, that almost turned into a civil war. Again.
That's right. Yeah,
they actually had a civil war in season 2.
Yeah, they had the provisional government remained provisional for the whole 7 seasons of Deep Space Nine.
Provisional government.
But I will say, as an old 40-something man that I may or may not be, seeing these intrigue episodes, I find so much more appreciative of what was brought before I was ready to truly appreciate it.
When I did rewatches of both Deep Space Nine and B5, mostly when when I got on my own and I had all the, you could buy all the DVDs, some of the heavier themes started sinking in my 20s. Now I'm an adult. I'm living on my own. I'm, paying bills, all the things that you have to think about as an adult, right?
Yep.
But I'm a voting member. I was an active member of the military. So those things came into mind. So things started to click in a way that they didn't in the 90s when I was a teenager.
Right.
Right. These shows ended before we both went to college. Right.
Right.
So, I mean, like Deep Space Nine ended right as I'm graduating from high school. And then, in B5, it ended like 6 months before that. But
which I want to point out, the lesson to take from this is, if we have someone on TV who may or may not be a teenager lecturing us about something about global policy, they don't know shit.
I know.
Don't listen to them. There's no reason to listen to them.
This is why I don't. This is why I can't stand to listen to that obnoxious girl from Sweden.
I didn't mean. I wasn't pointing her out.
I didn't like Avril Lavigne coming out like against the war in Iraq. Like you're 19 years old, you know shit about shit, and you're Canadian. You guys aren't even in this fight. Shut the hell up. You didn't decide to come in, so shut up. Right? You don't know shit. It's like, okay.
They don't know that, though. That's the problem. But there are people that take advantage of that.
Right. There's nothing wrong with being a passionate kid who wants to do well in the world. Sure. I'm all for that.
Tempered, though. Understand, you have much to learn, young Padawan.
Yes. And unfortunately, it sucks, too, because there's a lot of compromise that comes with that. And if you're principled, if you're idealistic, that hurts. Okay. And I see there's a lot of things about Kira that you see her views change. In this episode, Duet is one where you get to see a different thought process with her, because she is a child, as a teenager, and as a young adult, she's got these different experiences. Now, Bajor has been free, maybe a year by the time this episode starts. She's being influenced. She has been around the Federation now for whatever they called it, 7-8 months, something like that. Now she's in a position of authority. She's had her worldview expanded a bit. And she's thinking critically.
Yes.
As well. Not at first. Very reactionary, very understandable. Very suspicious.
Let's get into the start of that.
Yeah.
Let's ride with Kira on her journey on this one. So this is basically a bottle episode. It's a bottle episode before they're ending the season and everything like that. No new sets, nothing. But this is why I love bottle episodes, because they have the most to say. We don't get that anymore. True. Okay. Fair enough. But the ones that have the most to say are usually bottle episodes, but not all. Yes. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Okay. Here we go. Opens up pretty clearly. Kira is talking about how she used to get in mischief and fights when she was a kid, which I thought was funny because then whatever. I was like, oh, my son hasn't gotten into any fights or mischief like that, but I did.
Ever.
And and then they get a call from an incoming ship, and the captain says, yes, I have a passenger here who is having medical attention. He forgot his medicine for this syndrome. What's it called? Colinar?
Colonora
syndrome. And then Kira stops and like freezes, like, huh? Someone, I think it's Cisco, says, well, Chief, beam him directly to sick bay or the medical bay or whatever, and we'll get him treated and see about that. And the doctor was like, Colonora, never heard that. I'll take a look in the medical database. And and then here's what happens. So Kira, let's see. Kira goes in to see them because she thinks it's a Bajoran who survived this labor camp, and there was a mining accident, and all the Bajorans that were there during this accident contracted this external disease. I mean, it was an environmental condition that caused this disease.
Yeah, from the fallout or whatever that. Yeah, so the only known cases right now are people who have this, who were there. Basically, the Bajoran equivalent of Auschwitz.
Exactly. It's a signature, right? So, so she wants to go down and pay her respects to the survivor, and she goes, and that's when she sees
Cardassian.
Why can't I add this? Oh, here we go. This Cardassian. Now he's in the brig here, but that's when we cut and everything, and so then we see her freak out. And then I want to share this. This is basically her telling everyone that she needs him to be arrested and brought to Bajor, right? So, and this is probably the non-visitors. I remember her being she was a hothead. She did a lot. She was unnecessarily yelly in comparison to what we saw from the cast of TNG and things like that. This was different, though. This was different. Tell me that you can hear.
By the way, when I was watching that the other night, that part is when my wife walked into the room.
Oh my God, really?
She's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, they're talking about, her people who had been conquered by this oppressive race. She's like, this is rough. I'm like, yeah, it's a dark episode. She's like, I'm like, but it's a really good one. It's just hard subject matter. She's like, enjoy.
Not much longer to finish here, but I want to capture Nanaz.
Yeah, keep going. I had to say that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
And by the way,
buried alive because.
No, we can finish. Keep going.
It comes later. So, first of all, she's affected, to say the least. I mean, she was part of the Shakar cell that liberated that camp, and she saw the worst of the worst done to her people.
She did.
And again, as a 12-year-old who I could understand that in theory, but you don't really understand it until you're an adult and you have a spouse and children of your own in some form or another.
Or if you've never been in an environment like that.
Right. And
can I also say something too?
Yeah, please.
Real quick. So according to the character Bible of Kira Nerys, so this episode takes place in the year 2369. She was born in 2343. She was 26 years old. Okay. So 12 years before that, if she was part of the liberation team, that means she was a 14-year-old child soldier in the resistance, which tracks, which is stuff she said she was fighting as a teenager.
Yep.
But just remember, she saw that at 14 years old.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
granted, she'd already been living under the oppressive regime her entire life.
yeah.
But she was
Yeah.
part of a resistance cell at 14, liberating a concentration camp.
Yeah, I can't.
So
I
if
can't even.
anybody in this group, and Deep Space Nine is literally riddled with people with PTSD. Okay, all for legitimate reasons, right? O'Brien, scarred war veteran. Cisco loses his wife to the Borg. Jake loses his mom to the Borg. You know, Kira may still have the edge on everybody, right?
Well, Quark
But I
does
mean-
have too much comic sauce.
But let's not forget, too, though, that Worf, when he shows up, is also the survivor of a massacre at 7 years old. Loses what he thinks his entire family. Okay.
Dude, I thought Star Trek was supposed to be a universe you want to live in.
It is. Depends on which side of the Federation border you're on.
Oh my god. Oh.
Star Trek is a universe you want to live in. It's way safer to live there, even with all the horrible things that show up there, than it is to live in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely true.
That being said, again, most of this shit happened outside of Federation space.
Yes. So this is basically the beginning of Kira's ride. We see how damaged she is, for lack of a better term, affected, and how affected this Cardassian
exactly
could have done to these people that she saw mutilated and destroyed and humiliated and ravaged, I think is the appropriate term. So we see that, and then we see her talk to this is where she talks to him. We're going to share this tab
so
now.
the character, the Cardassian, he claims his name is Maritza, and then he was a file clerk.
Yep.
Yes. He was a file clerk at the Galatep labor camp.
And now the kicker is
complimented.
He did not have he says he didn't have Collinara syndrome.
Yes,
he
had
something
a similar
else.
condition.
Yes, and he was, and the actor who was the judge in Ghostbusters 2, by the way,
Harris Yulin, who has made has had a long history of playing bad guys, tough guys, and overall assholes.
Yes,
he put on an acting clinic in this episode that should have won him an Emmy.
It really should have. It really should have.
He's sitting
here. He's like nonchalant. He's like, well, it looks like Collinara, but it's not. But I do need the medication that is required for Collinara. You can just take a look at it, and then Bashir analyzes everything, goes to Kira and says, "Kira, he's lying. He does have Collinara." So now Kira thinks he's definitely guilty, and he's got something to hide. And so we'll just watch a little bit of this back and forth a little bit here. You sent me something. No, you didn't send me anything.
That's separate. I did.
Alexander K sent me something. So, I mean, we can't watch the whole thing. That was a lot, but so I like the back and forth there. And you see how guarded she is because she just wants to, but she wants to know because she needs to gather the information, right? Like she needs to do things in order to prove to Cisco that he needs to be extradited to Bajor.
Yeah. By the way, Maritza is toying with her a little.
Very much so. Yes.
Glib.
You're not gonna like it.
The little sing song right there, that was like so devious. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I love it.
I didn't catch that the first time.
Oh, it was good. I watched it rewatched this last night. Literally the second time in my entire life, watching the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, this actor is just amazing.
He passed last June. So he'd been around a while.
He
lived to the ripe old age of 87, but he'd done so many TV shows and movies. And you're right, he was He was great as the judge in Ghostbusters too. He plays a lot of those kind of characters.
It's the Fratelli brothers. Sentenced them to death. It's not for
Gave him the chair.
Gave him the chair. Oh, goodness. So, back and forth happens, and then Sisko actually calls Gul Dukat. And Gul Dukat's like, you have a Cardassian citizen. I thought that private Cardassian citizens had the right to be able to come through Deep Space Nine. Why is he detained? And he's like, well, we found out that he is not Eamon Maritza, but in fact, what's his name?
No. They hadn't got to that point when he's talking to Dukat. They're trying to
they're trying to get records.
Right.
That's right.
Which Ducat's kind of stonewalling him on.
Right.
But he also is like, but Ducat is kind of like, you guys are the Federation. This is the Federation treaty. It's a Federation station. You're supposed to be protecting, unarmed Cardassian civilians. He's like, well, this guy's story isn't adding up. And there's, he's got this condition that is, so we're actually looking into the fact that he might be a war criminal. He's like a war criminal. Dude's like a freaking file clerk. So they don't get any help from Dukat. Which
they're able to get the files though.
Well, that's because Odo kind of, he actually convinces Dukat to cough it up.
That's right.
On the second go round. But
that is correct.
They pull up a picture. They're like, oh, we found a picture of this guy. And it's like, okay, so this is supposed to be the picture of Maritza. It's like, but that doesn't look like him. He looks like this guy. Who's that? Oh, that's the camp commander, Gul Darheel. The so-called Butcher of Galatep.
That's this guy that's sitting in the brig right now.
Responsible for the death of thousands of Bajorans who seem to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now Kira's like kind of mixed where it's like, oh my God, we've got like the guy. We've got like Goebbels right here, but we've got we need like, so now they're trying to get more out of him, right? And then he kind of like drops the facade and he starts blustering and telling about how much he enjoyed. It was his duty to slaughter Bajorans. It was just so much easier just to kill you all.
And actually, there's a little bit of this here too. Hold on one second. Let me just double check it real fast. Oh yeah, no, that's not it. Okay, I can't. Oh wait, yeah. So this is when she confronts what's his name? Gul
Darheel.
Gul Darheel. I want to say Gul Masset for some reason. So I'm going to share.
That was Dukat's cousin.
Yeah,
the wounded.
So this is when Kira confronts whom she now, but they felt clean.
Again, this is, and by the writer's own, their own admission, is that this in a lot of ways was like the trial at Nuremberg and the concentration camps, the extermination of the Jews, right? So this is somewhat of a parallel to that, using that as an influence. And you have, plenty of people like Himmler and Goebbels and all these scumbags who, they finally capture or like giving these impassioned speeches at the trial. Like,
yeah.
You really bought into this shit, didn't you?
Right. It's just like, yeah, you really did buy in, and it's like, wow.
And listening to this, you feel dirty.
You feel dirty because you don't like to think that someone would take such pleasure in such awful acts of brutality and evil.
Oh yeah.
But you see it. I I wanted to show this because it's going to be so much more relevant in just a few minutes. But he's goading her. He's poking at her, just, you know, intentionally doing this. Because you're right. Like, from our perspective now at this point, he's basically on trial. And he's like, well, there's nowhere else for me to go, so I'm owning it. And I'm going to have my satisfaction and throwing it in your face of why I did it. You know,
Yeah.
And
he is just so committed. And then it's not long after this where, like, when Kira's like, we finally got this son of a bitch. This is going to be, you know, this will help Bajor heal, you know, putting to justice this brutal war criminal. And then Odo and Gul Dukat rain on our parade when they confirm that Gul Darhe'el died 6 years ago.
And Gul
this cannot possibly
maintains,
like, I was at the funeral.
I was at the commander. I assure you, you do not have Gul Darhe'el. Well, then who do we have? I don't know.
And Bashir has noted that Maritza or Darhe'el, there's surgical scars, or there's you know, he had cosmetic surgery. So Kira kind of goes head first into this about his inconsistencies, and watching the change, that scene, holy moly.
All right, here we go. I have it. Because of course I have it. We can't talk about this without having that. This is the ultimate. This is the moment. This is the moment where we see two characters invert. Like, you think that they're going this way, and then they both go like this. It's just insane. So here we go.
Let her rip.
Cover my ears every night.
Kira change her tune
real quick.
It's a little gradual. You start to see, as she's wrapping her head around the fact that this man actually is Eamon Maritza, the former file clerk, who feels such guilt over what Cardassia did, not only at Galatep, but to Bajor as a whole, that he is deciding to become a sacrificial lamb, surgically altering himself and passing himself off as Gul Darhe'el in order. He believes not only is that necessary for Bajor, but also for Cardassia. If Cardassia will continue to rot and crumble if they don't accept responsibility.
Yes, and
so
then
this
on
man
a personal note, he doesn't feel he's worthy to keep going.
Right, because he stood by and did nothing, hiding under the bunk. Like, what you don't see at the very beginning, like just before the start of that, he still is Gul Darhe'el, and they're talking about Maritza. Oh, Maritza was a scared small man, and he covered his ears and hid under his bunk every night hearing the screams. And then you start to see as the facade is breaking, and that's when it starts. I covered.
Yeah,
repeats himself.
I messed up. I didn't find that scene until just a couple minutes
and that's
ago.
Okay.
We don't need to go
it's
back
actually
to it.
Better that we talk it through.
Yeah,
because you do the immediate emotions from being the big blustering, everything was right and this guy sucks, and not to this guy just realizing that his jig is up and he just can't keep it up anymore, and lets his own guilt and fear and pain and anguish just roll in like a tour de force. And Kira, you can see the lights going off in her head, like, this guy is volunteering to die for somebody else.
He didn't commit these crimes. You know, he's innocent and he doesn't feel he's innocent.
You know,
but again,
and
like
it's funny,
said, he was one man.
In a season 5 episode, somebody a former I can't remember what it is. It's like the light in the darkness or something like that. But somebody is starting to kill off the surviving members of the Shakar resistance cell. And this is while she's still pregnant with the O'Brien's baby.
Yeah, the O'Brien's baby, not Miles's baby.
Yeah. Right. And she is trying to discover what's going on, find out why, and like she brings her couple of her close friends onto the station, and they get blown up. She eventually, finds out that somebody's trying to kill them all out of vengeance, and she ends up following the signal and gets ambushed by this disfigured Cardassian who's now taking revenge for he was another like file clerk or logistics guy. He wasn't a frontline soldier responsible for killing, but like he got terribly burned and disfigured by a bomb that Kira and company had set off, and he's going to exact revenge on her. But first he's going to remove the baby because the baby isn't innocent. No more innocent should be harmed. But Kira, in the midst of her, fight and maternal instinct and everything, being defiant, she's like, well, none of you were innocent. You didn't belong on Bejor in the first place. It's a little bit of a coin flip to her discussion with Maritza. Yeah. That being said, the situation is entirely different.
Very much so.
She also, I think, was trying to provoke this guy to make a mistake, which he eventually does, not allowing her to free herself. But there is that, and there's a lot of it, throughout her entire arc through the series, even though she grows and has had some meaningful interactions with Cardassians, at times there is still that utter resentment that you see all the way towards the end when she's in a Starfleet uniform helping Damar and Garrick run the Cardassian resistance against the Dominion. She still has scars and calls Damar out on some of the hypocrisy that he's bitching about the Dominion. When he's like, yeah. So who would order the death of innocent people, Damar?
Yeah, I remember that.
So
and then she chastises herself. She goes, I shouldn't have done that. And it was because Damar, when she says it, he walks right up to her, stares her down, then walks away quietly, doesn't say a thing, and then she goes, I shouldn't have done that. She chastises herself. And Garrick says, no, he needed to be reminded.
He needed to know that. The good old days weren't always so good kind of thing.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. And
it was that clicks with Damar, though, too. And he realizes some stuff. And he's like, that Cardassia had to die. We need to build a new Cardassia. So, but you see this from season 1 through season 7. This will never go away because that's real for a person. That's
exactly
the signs of a real person, right? That's the depth of this character. But she does grow, and she does, like, obviously she's going to help the Cardassian resistance, right?
Ironically, but she has to wear a Starfleet uniform to do it.
so they'll accept her, right?
Yep.
Which, by the way, I actually liked Kira in a Starfleet uniform.
I liked it too. I thought it was great. I was like, fine. I'm like, finally.
That being said, it was just, it goes all the way back to this. And of course, throughout season 1, her interactions with various Cardassians are never, that great, but she does start to see depth and see that there were people who had their own
Cardassians
scars
were also
from this.
Victims in this too.
Some of them, not a lot, not all of them.
Not a lot.
There were those who felt
there were some, and it needs to be recognized, and also the fact that he tried to atone for Cardassia's sins.
And that's really what got her, is that this guy is trying to. One man can't fix everything, but he's trying to. He's willing to give up his own life and live and die a lie to try to let the truth out.
Yep.
He's practically begging her to let him be killed,
Yeah.
So it's so powerful and such fantastic acting from the two actors. Who it's really about 50% of the episode is just those two together.
It really is. I mean, and let's just point out that the two most out of all those powerful performances, neither of them were Avery Brooks.
He has his own episodes though, so it's
he
all
does
good.
have his own, but but think about that, like the power of Avery Brooks, and they didn't utilize him here. It was a Kira episode, and we saw her.
But they actually letting Cisco back off and do the subdued stuff, like after she goes off on her tirade in that first clip, very justified, of course. And you see him like sometimes he wants to meet force with force, but he's like, oh, and he drops back and he's very understated. And he's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna go talk with this guy. Oh,
yeah.
I should come with you. No, I need to do, you need to stay. I'll go talk with him. It was not chastisement.
No, it was
But
just
it was
he de-escalated.
he did, and it was
and
very well done.
yeah.
You know,
See,
but
good acting doesn't mean yelling.
Although he can do it great.
He can do it great too. He can do that great too. But you know,
And a lot of people's initial complaints about Kira was that she was kind of yelly to start with.
literally,
She does
what I
have a
said.
bit of a. She does have a, especially earlier in the season. She is a little more aggressive. I mean, she's still throughout her time. She can be very aggressive and hot-headed, but she also is such a fully fleshed out character, even by this point.
Mm-hmm. So
So
we
good.
get to see her, ride this roller coaster of thinking that she had a victim, and then a perpetrator, and then basically Hitler himself, and then only to find out that it was a lowly guard who was not a perpetrator.
Not a guard, a clerk, not even a guy with
sorry,
a gun.
not a guard. A guard would, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Thank you for correcting me. A lowly clerk who didn't participate in it and didn't want to be there and was scarred from being there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We see her ride that out, and this is the aftermath right here. Who had been in the drunk tank earlier, just stabbed him in the back.
But you gotta love the staging, because this guy just murdered somebody in front of the chief of security, and rather than Odo's just standing there holding him.
I know there's no call for Bashir. I get it. They're all just standing around watching the scene. I let it pass. Let it pass.
But it is just kind of
crossed my mind too. It crossed my mind too. Yeah.
And you know that since Morn is there, the whole station's going to know in 3 seconds.
Yeah. But,
that might be the best running gag in all of Star Trek.
That he never said anything?
He never said anything, and he's supposed to be the biggest mouth in the galaxy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. But, this is one of those ironic endings where, like, she's come to terms with her inner emotions for at least this moment. And she says, in order for Cardassia to heal, they're going to need people like you. And then it's a Bajoran that kills him and ruins that hope, that opportunity for Cardassia to heal, because that pain is so great on both sides.
And yeah, the Bajoran guy kind of, becomes the villain, but you gotta, he's in the drunk tank. Odo's already talked to him about, being drunk, right? He's a kind of older guy, probably in his 40s. Looks like life's treated him hard. And if he was a Bajoran, probably at that age,
probably been drinking because of what the Cardassians did.
So I'm not saying, again, it was justified per se, but I bet you that dude's got some stories. Maybe a couple of reasons.
Most definitely.
So,
yeah.
So there's just so much tragedy in this episode.
And that's the key, right? Everything is tragic here. Like that's oh, it's just
it sucks.
And as a 12-year-old, I understood the meaning and the ending here, but I didn't appreciate the ride that brought us to this, and I this is definitely it. I checked; it's the highest rated episode of season 1. I had it. It is rated 9.0 out of 10 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal episode.
So the average was like around 6.5 for most of the episodes in season 1, probably because people didn't understand why this wasn't Star Trek: The Next Generation. But so I will say, I mean, we walked through it. We talked about the big clips and everything. Now we have cadets swallowing communicators. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. But yeah.
So like if you go on Paramount Plus where this is on, right? They have it's like the top 10 episodes of Deep Space Nine or whatever it was, like it's like a search category, and this is one of them. Like essential must watch. This is a must watch episode if you want to understand the character of Kira Nerys. This is a must watch episode if you're trying to understand the Bajoran and Cardassian conflict. Basically, if you are a Star Trek fan, this is a must watch episode. It really is. It's one of the probably top 15, 20 best morality plays in Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the key, right? Again, bottle episode, one of the most memorable though. Like we did a review of The Way of the Warrior. We talked about the upgrades that they did to DS9. We talked
The Way of the Warrior might be one of the top 5 best episodes of Deep Space Nine, just across the board, especially if you loop it as one episode, because it is just from start to finish riveting, really.
Yeah. But this was riveting too. And there was not a single phaser fire. There was not a single explosion. There was one murder. There was one murder, but it was bloodless. It was real quick. But we didn't even, I don't think we even saw a ship approach. No,
there was very little exterior stuff.
External shot. And then
it was all on existing sets.
Yeah. So, and yet you walk away going, wow, that was incredible. So I just wanted to share that. I think if you haven't gotten into Star Trek, this is why you should take a look at the older 90s era stuff. If you can't get into the 60s stuff, which I understand, I can understand why it looks hokey, and there are some kind of crazy things where Kirk just reads the Constitution to a bunch of aliens because they already have it.
A bunch of white aliens.
That are dressed like Native Americans. Yeah, I understand. It's different in the 90s though, and there's a little bit more consistency with the context. Totally recommend. Anything else you want to add on this, DT?
If you go through this episode and it does not make you want to sink your teeth further into Deep Space Nine, then there's no hope for you. As far as becoming a Deep Space Nine fan, this is as good as it gets. I mean, maybe The Visitor, if you're looking for something a little bit different, but
yeah, Visitor.
Like this is a really good episode. Fantastic acting, and this is what really helps you blow the doors off of the Kira character. And a lot of people weren't 100% sold on her all the way through some of the first parts of the first season. This nailed it. This made sure that you know that this is a character to be reckoned with. She is strong, but she is damaged, and she is trying to find a better way. But she is forever her. And she, what I like about Kira is that she grows so much. You get to see her sense of humor in her, for an alien, humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. Kira is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Trek.
I will agree. And if you had told 12-year-old Mac that I would feel that way as an adult, I would have said, I wish you weren't a liar.
I would have said, yeah, she's pretty good. I don't know if I would have gone there, but I liked Kira. She was tough. She was like, here's what I'll say. If Leia didn't grow up a princess, if she had to live a more life more like Kira, she would be a lot like Kira. There's a lot of, I think, some solid similarities to a degree between Kira and Leia, in my opinion, as no bullshit, not having to be super. I mean, like the strength just comes through without overdoing it.
No, absolutely.
Especially these little peeks behind the curtain that makes you realize why Kira is so angry.
It is a good peek behind the curtain. And, that's
this
what you got to love
shows
about
it
this.
to you, though.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
And I think few people they lay her whole life bare through this series, like when she finds out that her mom was hooking up with Gul Dukat.
Oh my God, that's a brutal episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
It's like, oh
gosh. Can we talk about how O'Brien suffers so much through this series? But the stuff that, you got to think Kira goes through something very similar psychologically. Okay.
a lot of Kira's torture is like they do flashbacks to Kira's torture. They bring new torture for O'Brien.
Maybe we should do a juxtaposition of all the torture episodes of Kira and all the torture episodes of O'Brien. See if they might be one and one.
Oh, dude. I don't know.
It'll be a dark recording, but
it'll also be a dark watching.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm ready for that, dude. It's already so cold and dark around here right now.
I know. And freaking Belichick's not in the Hall of Fame.
Dude, we got almost 2 feet of snow this weekend.
I know. Believe me. Yeah.
It is. And it's not going away because it's not gotten above 20 degrees all week.
No, and it's going to be a while before it does too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're getting more this weekend. So let's not have me snowed in over the weekend watching the most bleakest episodes of Deep Space Nine, please.
Okay.
Can we maybe not do that?
All right. We'll figure something else out. Not this time, but something else. We'll do something. That's fine. All right.
Thank you.
And then until the next day, wow, I can't speak. Until then, in that day, DT.
Sure.
Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I think we should close it up.
And on that note, you guys, until the next time, you guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. I am P.S. McKay. We are those sci-fi guys. So long, everybody.
And I'm DT Calfman. And from up here on the high ground, I can see a brighter future.
That can warp the stars. DT's got stories from cavalry scars. One writes the worlds where the heroes fly, the other old tanks under desert sky. And Sam sandbox sports to the final frontier. 2 kids with dreams and a 6-pack of beer. Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the streetlights spark. We're either sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mac and DT camming, lighting up the airwaves. Blasters or books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Max spins a tale about a rogue AI. DT counters with man, I drove that guy. From doom to doom, we argue the stakes while the coffee gets cold and the pizza box breaks. Childhood pals in a grown-up fight for the best damn death scene on a Friday night. Pixels or pages, we're never done. 2 working stiffs chasing alien sun. We're in those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mac and DT camming, lighting up the airwaves. Blasters or books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah. No capes, no powers, just regular days. But we'll save the galaxy in our own ways. Max drafting novels in the dead of night. DT's got tank tracks, turns them into light. Together we're louder than a hyperdrive scream. 2 regular dudes living the sci-fi dream. Yeah, yeah, we're with those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mac and DT camming, lighting up the airwaves. From the sandbox to the stars, we'll never say die. Tune in, geek out, those sci-fi guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Next week, Blade Runners or replicants? Bring the Bourbon Rider boys, gonna get real.